today I'm going to show you how I make a really wonderful flourless chocolate cake. Okay, so you see right here, I'm going to melt my chocolate. I've got my makeshift double boiler. I just have a glass bowl that's heat proof, of course it's Pyrex, over some simmering water. And that is how I'm going to melt my chocolate and my butter. You can do it in the microwave if you so choose. So anyway, I'm just going to put the 4 ounces of chocolate chips that I've got. Those are semi-sweet. And then I've got 4 ounces of totally unsweetened chocolate. And I've got 1 stick of butter. And I'm just going to chunk this butter up and put it in there with the chocolate to melt. Okay? We're just going to throw it right in there. Like I said, you can melt this in the microwave if you so choose, but I like doing it in here. Okay, so with this, I'm just going to carefully chop this up. And it's going to fly everywhere. Put that right in with everything else. My counter's clean, so I'm taking all these little pieces that flew everywhere. Alright, here we go. I'm going to give this one a go around. Maybe. Oh! It does get a little messy. That's alright. Okay. Alright, now that that is all cut up, I've got a couple straggly pieces here. I made sure my counter was nice and clean, so don't get mad at me for wiping it off there. Let me wash my hands real quick. Okay, now that's way too hot. See that? I got to turn that way down on low. Take that off for just a minute. You got to be very careful that you don't get water in your chocolate. It'll seize up and it'll just be a disaster. Okay, so I'm going to put this back over here. I turned the heat way down on low. And I'm just going to get that all melted up. Nice and smooth. You see it's starting to melt. Just stir it around a little bit. But that's just going to get melted. When that's all good and melted and nice and smooth, I will be back and I'll show you. Friends, this is all melted and it's wonderful. I turned the heat off. Now I'm just going to set this aside to let it cool just a little bit because I'm going to add the eggs and sugar and salt to it. So we're just going to set that aside and move our pan. Okay, and while that was melting, I separated 5 eggs. I've got the egg yolks here that are going to go in the chocolate mix, and I've got the whites here. Now what we want to do while that chocolate is cooling down just a little bit, just enough to add the eggs without scrambling them, is we can beat our egg whites into nice soft peaks. So that's what I'm going to do now. This may get a little loud, but that's what we're going to do. Almost there. Perfect. That's what you're looking for. Nice soft peaks. Okay. All right, now we're going to set that aside, and we're going to bring, I don't want water all over my counter. We're going to bring our chocolate over here, and it's good. Okay, it's good and it's ready. So, with that, I'm going to use my whisk instead. But I got to keep that aside. Okay, we are going to whisk the eggs in here. Your 5 egg yolks. And I've got 2/3 cups of sugar. But I also got about a half a teaspoon of instant coffee. You will not taste the instant coffee in here. For those of you who hate coffee, you won't taste it. It just enhances the chocolate. That's all it does. And we're going to put just a dash of salt in there. Okay? Now we're just going to whisk this all together. Beautiful. All right, I can move that towel. Okay, now what we're going to do, we got all the sugar and everything in there. We are going to combine it with, let me get you over here a little closer. With our egg whites. So we're just going to put it all in there. And we're just going to very carefully fold this all together. You don't want to deflate the eggs any more than you have to, but you want it all folded nicely together. See how that's coming together so nice? You just fold it because you don't want to take too much air out of it. See that beautiful batter? Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so now I've got that mixed up. Let me set this aside. I have got my pan, and you can use a regular cake pan, but you will not be able to get it out of there. You'll have to serve it out of that cake pan. So I've got a small 8-inch springform pan. And for those of you who don't know what a springform pan is, it's got the little latch on the side, so the sides will come off, and then you have the tray on the bottom. That's what I'm going to use. You're going to want to spray it with some nonstick spray. Also, you're going to want to set your oven at 375 degrees. And then as soon as I get this done, we'll go on to the next. So we're just going to pour this in this cake pan. You don't want to waste any of it. Get every little bit you can out of there. It's wonderful. Now, if you're wondering where I got this recipe from, I have to credit Mr. Wolfgang Puck, because I got this recipe from him probably 20 years ago. I saw it on Food Network one day, and I wrote it down, and I wrote the name on it. So I've had it for all that time. Anyway, so that's who I got my recipe from, was Wolfgang Puck. Anyway, so with that, we've got it all in a pan. Now we're going to put it in a 375 degree oven, and it's going to bake for about an hour and 15 minutes. Actually, it's 350 degrees. It's going to bake for an hour and 15 minutes. So when it's all baked and it's all done, I will be back. Friends, I just pulled this cake out of the oven. Literally just pulled it out. It's screaming hot, so I can't touch it. But I wanted you to see how full it is, because as this cake cools, it's going to sink in the middle and it's going to crackle up, and it's going to look like something it shouldn't look like, probably. You know, you're going to think, maybe I made a mistake. No, that's what it does, because there's no flour in it. This is a wonderful cake. So I'm going to let this cool, and then I'll bring you back and I'll show you what I'm talking about, how it sinks in the middle and it starts to crack. So I'll be back. Friends, this is all cooled off and all ready to go, and I'm just going to take and run my cake knife right along the edge so that nothing sticks or tears it apart. Okay, so with this, you will just take and loosen that piece right there, and look at that. Well, we're going to take it this way. Okay, it's never usually that hard, but there you have it. This is how beautiful this turned out. Now let me move that. And all I do is bring it up here. All I do with this, see how that's cracked? And let me get a close-up on there. See how that's cracked a little bit and sunken in the middle? You can fill that middle in with fruit. You can fill it in with, you could frost this. But with me, I just simply take and sprinkle a little bit of powdered sugar on it, because that is all I do. Because when I serve it, I put a little bit of chocolate sauce on it and a little dollop of Cool Whip, and you're good to go. So let's see. Let's cut into this. So that you can see the inside of it. This is absolutely, this turns out beautiful. And it's very rich, it's wonderful. Look at how gorgeous that turns out. There you have it, friends. That's a beautiful flourless chocolate cake. So there you have it. Thanks for watching. What do you think of that, Tootsie Bell?
It looks good.
It looks good? You can taste it?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that? Can you tell our friends what that tastes like?
It's good.
It's good. Chocolatey. A little bit of bitter and a little bit of sweet. And yum.
Mm-hmm.
Tell them try it. It's good.
Try it. It's really good.